Hey guys, what's up? It's Jules here for WhatCulture.com with another episode of the most insane things happening in wrestling this week. The show that does exactly what it says on the tin in the most annoying way possible. You're welcome. Now, before we begin, I just want to get a few admin pieces out of the way, as is my wont to do. Basically, I went on holiday last week and I actually got some chance and some time to respond to some of the feedback and opinions that you guys have been voicing my way. It's been lovely to chat to some of you guys, and I even got to meet a few of you when I went jaunting around the UK, doing whatever it is I do, you know, visiting thrift shops and buying unique antique avocados. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that it was fantastic to see all of the positivity floating about for the having a giraffe movement, you know, got the t-shirt, all of the hats comments, and just people just having a laugh, having a giraffe with me up and down the country. So thank you so much for the support. It is very much appreciated. Secondly, I'm gearing up right now for the greatest Royal Rumble pay-per-view. We're gonna stream it live, and I hope to see a lot of you over there to come on, bring all your comments, positive and negative that way. We might even have a special guest or two. Who knows? Might be Miller. Anyway, let's crack on with the show and hit that intro. Scott Steiner. I could say those two words and probably just leave this entire entry at that because the man is certifiably mental. But this week, he proved on Impact Wrestling something much more insane. That Impact Wrestling is still relevant. Yes, I know we give the product a lot of stick here at WhatCulture, but you know what? When things are good, they are good, and we should celebrate that good. And you know what? Scott Steiner was definitely, use a word other than good, Jules, great. He was great because not only did he come down and swoop the tag team titles with Eli Drake, but then he interrupted a promo that was being cut by P.T. Williams and referenced their time together, and also lovingly paid homage to the fantastic maths promo that's made him so internet famous. Scott Steiner helped make this week's episode so entertaining. And I know what you're probably going to say. You're going to say, oh, Jules, it's old blood that's flowing through the veins of this product. But you know what? When you are as jacked as Scott Steiner, then it's going to give you some pretty serious swell regardless. And you know what? This reinvigoration was key to the pay-per-view's success. You know, Josh Matthews actually went on record to state, this is just the beginning. Our work is never done. It's one fan at a time. This is redemption. You know what? That's really encouraging to see that the product is still just going about that the right way, trying to win over the hardcore fans one by one. For them, it's not about a huge sweeping statement like the WWE would do by, say, putting on a massive pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia. For them, it is about getting the individual hooked for life. Hopefully. Well, as long as their talent doesn't get nicked by the WWE in the first place. Either way, hopefully the product is back on track. Or at least 66 2/3% of the way there. So growing up, I genuinely didn't know that the Godfather and Papa Shango were played by the same person, Charles Wright. It was an absolute shock to find out that they were the same person. Even more of a shock when I found out that he also played the ultimate superstar, Karma the Extreme Fighting Machine. Yeah. I tell you, the man's had more varied gimmicks than I've had hot orphanage suppers. And this stylistic split personality was on show in full force at this week's AIW, in which not only could people queue up and get their photo taken with the Godfather, with their confused kids not knowing who he is, but then also Papa Shango appeared to take on the production and cast some sort of voodoo hoodoo on the heel faction, causing them to spit up black ooze. It was delicious. Basically, it was just insane to see this sort of old school gimmick in the modern day, but you know what? It was really entertaining. And I kind of missed the silly hokiness of old school wrestling. I mean, with The Undertaker out of the way, or potentially soon to be out of the way once Rusev finally crushes him, come on Rusev, I believe in you, my man. Who's the next hokey gimmick? Are we gonna get like a wizard? I mean, Ember Moon's kind of a werewolf. No way, Jose? Right, I know what I'm about to say might seem a little strange, but are we getting too much wrestling? We've just come off of the back of a 7-hour WrestleMania, weekly 3-hour Raws. SmackDown that is potentially going to be extended itself to 3 hours. Then you've got the NXT, the 205 Lives, and then you've got every other product as well. But let's just consider the WWE. That is a lot of weekly content that we need to catch up on. Now, I'm not complaining in the slightest. It is my job and I love my job, so that's fine, but it's just, I worry about the talent. I worry about the fact that the storylines are going to get so muddled, and I worry that a lot of people are just going to be brought up and lost in the mix because we're being oversaturated with wrestling. How does anyone stand out on the roster when you're not given the time to stand out? And I know what you're saying. Time is the question. Having more time would make more sense. Having less time, more focus is actually the right answer. And one of the focuses at the moment seems to be in the lead up to the Greatest Royal Rumble is, where are the women? Well, the women are definitely going to stand out this week because of the fact that they're not going to be at the pay-per-view. I know I've already covered this many times over, that the Saudi Arabian laws just dictate that women can't wrestle, which is, you know, just bizarre, but hey-ho, that is their bag. Well, I hear you say, Jules, they main evented Raw this week. Yeah, they did, and that was quite spectacular to see. I mean, the match itself was a bit hit and miss, but it did have some great moments. Nia Jax's big bump and Ronda Rousey's swift takedown were utterly fantastic. However, would they be getting this sort of main event status if the pay-per-view weren't just round the corner that they couldn't go to? I would say probably not. And what it seems to be is just the WWE basically casting this very thin veil over these women. And I know that there is an obvious pun to be related to what's happening and where they're going in the pay-per-view. Let's just move past that one. The thin veil is definitely there and we can see through it, and it only serves to highlight how strange this pay-per-view is going to be. However, good to see they got the main event, but strange to see that they're not involved in this giant pay-per-view. $500,000 per pay-per-view appearance. $100,000 for every Raw appearance. No wonder that Brock Lesnar is constantly pissing himself whenever he can because he's seen his f***ing paycheck. That little two-step jig that he does on the way down to the ring, that is earning him more than I'll earn in about 17,000 years here working at WhatCulture. I've danced on the streets. I didn't get that type of money. I mean, these are obnoxiously high figures, right? I mean, we've not seen anything this sort of level since Hulk Hogan turned WCW into his personal piggy bank. And you know what, on top of this week it turns out that whole thing about Shane squaring up to Brock Lesnar after he threw his belt against the wall, that was a work. So Vince is purposefully paying Brock $500,000 bing bongs to come down to the ring at every pay-per-view and 100,000 quang-quings every time he wants to be on Raw. That is insane. He's not going to make that return on investment. People are already f*** off, like, don't you f*** with me. People are already souring on Brock Lesnar's title reign. I mean, true, no one wanted Roman Reigns to win at WrestleMania, but still, people have actually started to go against it. I mean, is this actually Vince's plan? That he's basically going to stand somebody next to Roman Reigns and just be like, look, he's worse by comparison. Look at all of the money I'm spending on him. Look at all of the time and attention and how he sort of rules the roost. Don't you love Roman more now? If that's his gimmick, if that's his plan, it's not only going to take about 10 years to get that done, but it's going to bankrupt him. Absolutely insane. I mean, Vince is willingly letting the beast send his dog to the vet every now and again, and he's paying for the pleasure of it. I know that Brock Lesnar is one of the biggest, if not the biggest draw in wrestling at the moment, but he won't always be. And this does not seem like a sound investment. And you know what? I'm just doing it. I'm getting out right now. You knew it was coming. I'm putting this right on now because Brock Lesnar, Brock Lesnar's contract, are you having a giraffe?
Having a giraffe, mate.
Are you having a giraffe, mate? Ridiculous. The squat down and everything for that. Now my hat's out of place. Fuming, tamping. Absolutely tamping. Anyway, Brock Lesnar's wage. It's a lot. Okay, here we are on the final segment of the show, and I've got some notes in front of me about Enzo Amore. Yeah, the guy basically threw up some shoes on Instagram, took a photo of it, and you know what? The notes I have down here, I was going to go into the whole thing about how maybe it's not a wise decision to basically throw up shoes onto a telegraph wire, which is, you know, quite common for crime scenes, for gang hangouts, for drug dealing things. It's like a signal thing for that. Maybe that's not a smart move when you're going through what you're going through with the police. However, I refuse to end this week's show talking about something so negative and so spurious because, again, you know, at the end of the day, it's still accusations. I don't want to speculate on anything more than I already have to. So instead, what I'm going to do is take a different approach and talk about something much more positive. So, Michael Sidwich, as some of you might know, writes the articles that I base this show on, and he's just gone off on paternity leave to look after his newborn child. So what we want to do now, from one father to another, my son Ewan, if you're watching, go to bed. Just want to say, congratulations, mate. Well done, and good luck with all of your future endeavours. Insert joke about being fired by the WWE here. He's a fantastic lad, he's a fantastic dad, and we wish him the best. From all of us at WhatCulture, seriously, mate, good on you. Have a giraffe on us. And I guess if you want to talk about what's the insane thing about this segment, then if you're not talking about Enzo Amore, well, think about it this way. It's insane that a wrestling fan has had sex. Who knew that was possible? I sure f***ing didn't. And there we have it, the most insane things happening in wrestling this week. And now to close the show the only way I know how, by reading my favourite comment from last week's episode. And this week, there's actually two, really. One's from Madaro Love 2, who says, "Wear this shirt during the intro." I love that idea. Once we get the design finalised for having a giraffe, because I saw that there was some feedback in there, I want more feedback coming in. Once we get the design finalised for that, I will reshoot the intro. We will all have a giraffe together. I may even wear the head, if it is not too unwieldy. The second one is more of a response to a comment that was in quite a lot of comments in last week's episode. Now, you know I was talking about Austin Aries and about how he's basically flaunted the fact that Impact doesn't have a wellness policy in place. And I said that his quote was about, "We won't fine you for smoking marijuana." And then I said, "Oh, you don't want to invite people in who will overdose." People assumed that I was talking about an overdose on weed. That's not a thing. I definitely knew that was a thing because I said that it was juice heads, as in steroid users, and there definitely have been people who've overdosed from that, or at least caused serious damage to themselves, which has led to unfortunate, untimely deaths. So, just to clear that up, I'm not talking about smoking too much pots. Lord knows I've tried. It's not impossible. It's not possible to do that. Talking about steroids. Don't know how those two even came in, because I definitely said it, but I'm just clearing that up now. Anyway, now to talk about the people who made this show happen. Michael Hamflett wrote this week's article, so big thank you to him. Phil Chambers, I love you, buddy. Thank you very much for your editing. Please put a nice little message on here. I'm sure it'll be offensive to me in some way or form. And biggest thank you is to you at home. Without you, we would have no having a giraffe movement. We would have no insane things. We would have no joy in our life. So thank you so much for watching and supporting. Keep your feedback coming. Keep those hashtag having a giraffe movement going. Let's get this stuff sorted. Let me know if I can do anything else just to amuse you in the meantime. Why not? From one dad to another. Anyway, as always, I've been Jules, you've been awesome, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye!
So, thanks for watching. Please feel free to click on any of these things around my head, or something terrible might happen to the dog. Too sweet me, bro. Traitor. Traitor.